Yeah. They're on. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining our Facebook Live. I'm sorry you couldn't all make it here in person. We have quite a crowd here. We're going to get started with our full slate of events in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We want you to see a couple videos to get you in the mood and establish the setting for tonight's event. So a couple videos that you're going to see are some tough hits that occur in sled hockey. You'll see some NHL hockey players trying to play sled hockey, and you'll see a sled shot which sets the mood for the 2002 team. So you'll watch a few of those. It'll take a couple minutes each. Turn it over to that, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Beer, wine, whiskey.
Just shoot yourself. Be a little different up here.
Never done it before, so it's gonna be a fun experience. I don't know what to expect. Hopefully, can figure things out here pretty quick and be somewhat good. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little scared.
I'm already sweating. I haven't moved outside this crease.
And we have no idea what we're doing, so it's going to be trial and error throughout the whole day.
It's a big thing. How do you do that?
They don't reach. The straps don't reach around me.
So you stop. I just lost in a race to Drew. Not that happy about it, but we'll get him. That was a good shot, right in his face. Well, here to have fun, number one. Life's all about having fun, but also very, very competitive person, and if you do lose today, I'll be very disappointed.
I think I got an assist on one of the goals. After the goal, I couldn't get out. I was stuck on my side for about 10 seconds, so.
Just handling the puck and skating at the same time, it's really tough here. Those guys are fast.
It was nice to make a few saves, keep the game close.
I felt about 30 steps behind, so guys were flying around. The skill and the speed was pretty evident early that I was going to have to find a way to be a little quicker, or else I was in big trouble.
I thought goalie was awesome. Duchesne was pretty good. I think it was a lot of fun.
Next time, hit the puck.
We were excited as much as they were. Just a cool deal.
I'll be in my memory for a little while. Overall, it was a great day.
Good game. The day at the rink, it should be enjoyed by everybody, and I was just happy to be a part of it and watch. And hockey's hockey, and it's great everyone can play in all different ways we can play this sport.
It was a lot of fun. Pretty humbling experience, and I think greater appreciation for how good those guys are. It's not easy, and they make it look pretty easy out there.
One more video. This is the real deal. So this video is the sled shot. So this captures a little bit from the 2002 gold medal team.
Oh my gosh, hold on, sorry, the delay here.
Did you lose it?
Yeah. Just lost it for a second here. Just lost it.
Want to come back to it after?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Want to cut to me live?
Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Gary Brandt. I'm the MC for tonight. Appreciate all of your support, consideration for this fine cause. I love a good story, but more importantly, I love hockey. Okay, I grew up Canadian, and that's all we knew was hockey. I met Rick Middleton about 10 years ago. We've become very good friends. It took Rick about 9 years to tell me this story. I had no idea about the 2002 gold medal win. I knew all about his hockey career. I was a big fan, and I had no idea. And I had run into sled hockey, though. Unlike Rick, I actually knew something about sled hockey before he became coach. I knew about sled hockey. I didn't know about his involvement with it. And as Rick told me this story, I started to understand all the dimensions to this. You know, I often tell people in my hockey life that it's an interesting sport because you can't play it until you know how to skate. You can't play sled hockey until you lose your legs. And think about that. These athletes, they lost their legs. Every one of these athletes on this team was born with legs. They all lost their legs. Many of them lost their will to live. Hockey gave them that will back, unlike anything you can imagine. And as Rick started unveiling this story, there was layers and layers and to the onion that were being peeled back, and I was like, wow, this is a movie. If Miracle on Ice with healthy athletes could be a first-rate movie, this can be a movie. So I got talking to him, and he said, yeah, we talked about it. There's some ideas, and there's a few stories written, and there was some footage filmed and stuff like this, but we've never gotten it off the ground. Well, the other gentlemen I'm going to introduce you to tonight, and as well as Rick and Tommy Moulton, that were the coaches, are two friends of mine that I met years ago in the film industry in Hollywood. And I contacted them and shared the idea and the concept with them, and here we are today. So we're going to go through some things today, which are going to introduce all those individuals, all those characters, and start to bring this story out. But before I get started, I want to share some specifics with you because I think it's very, very important. I'm going to read off the roster for the 2002 gold medal team because these are forgotten athletes. And we all watched the Olympics this year, and some of us probably watched the Paralympics. But time and time again, they mentioned the fact that there was this was the third straight gold medal for the Paralympic USA sled hockey team. And very seldom did they mention where it all started back in 2002 with the first gold medal. But these athletes, Manny Guerrero, goalie Patrick Sapp, James Dunham, Sylvester Fleece, Dan Henderson, Chris Manns, Brian Root, Kip St. Germain, Patrick Byrne, Dave Conklin, Matt Coppins, Lonnie Hanna, Joe Howard, Jack Sanders, Josh Wirt, We're supported by Rick Middleton and Tommy Moulton, the coaches, Rich DeGlopper, the team manager, Jeff Ayuna, the trainer, and Jim Olson, the physical therapist. These athletes were separated in age by 31 years. 31 years from the youngest to the oldest players on that team. And the things they had to overcome. Okay, so if you've ever thought of a movie that has grit and perseverance, these guys had polio or spina bifida or train accidents, construction accidents. They were veterans of from the military. Everything you can imagine were thrown at these guys, and they were brought together. Now, they had been brought together before. Okay, this wasn't the first coming together of these athletes. All right, they had unsuccess at other international events. In fact, they had only won one game in 5 years leading up to the 2002 Olympics. They never appeared in the first Paralympic Games with hockey because they didn't have a team in 94. 98, they appeared, did not win. I think they won one game, right? And in 2001, their coach quit, and Rick Middleton was approached, and that's when he lied and said he knew all about sled hockey. He's allowed that one lie. Oh, yeah. It was hockey, and he didn't hear the sled part. So this team, in addition to all the other things that, playing hockey without your legs, this team came up against this in the time just before 9/11. Okay? So imagine this. He gets appointed the coach. His first practice with the group of guys and his first exhibition game is scheduled right after 9/11. It gets canceled. So for 5 months coaching this team, he does not have the benefit of coaching these guys against international competition. So he has no idea what he's doing. He has no idea how this team is going to play. Shows up in Salt Lake City, ranked number 6 out of 6 countries, behind the TBD team, the to be determined team. Okay? They were good. And they went undefeated. Undefeated, and Rick will share more of the details of the tournament win itself, but I'm telling you folks, this is a compelling story. And if any of you did watch, and if you haven't watched, I encourage you to, this year's Paralympic team, again, a stunning win. This is very competitive hockey. These players play at a fast speed. You saw the tough hits. This is not, a kid's game that is, played without equipment. This is played full equipment, and these sleds are fast. They're just as fast as ice skaters. And they have to propel themselves with their upper body. So very strong athletes, very compelling sport, and a very compelling story with regards to win. I'm going to, before turning it over to Rick, because when I heard this story, I started looking things up because I thought, well, I'm just dumb. I didn't know about this. Well, there was a great article written by Miles McQuinn, and I'm just going to capture this. In March of 2002, 15 men traveled to Salt Lake City with the hopes of achieving first ever gold medal for the U.S. at the Paralympic Games. After 6 place finishes at both the 98 Nagano Games and the 2000 World Championships, a gold medal seemed far-fetched. But a monumental switch happened behind the bench the year prior to the Salt Lake City Games. Enter Rick Middleton. You all know Rick's career, 14 seasons in the NHL, 12 of them with Boston Bruins, one of the most prolific goal scorers in history, and his knowledge of the game was instrumental in the turnaround of that sled hockey program. To quote Josh Wirt, one of the youngest, I think he was the youngest member of the team, correct? 18. Josh's comments were, we went from a team that went in and thought we might win to a team that had confidence. We believed in the system and we believed in each other. Rick taught us how to be a team and he taught us how to win. And with that, without further ado, Rick, I'm going to bring you on.
Thank Thanks for the nice introduction, and thank you to everyone that's here. I can't believe you fought through all this snow today. We really didn't think we'd have this turnout. And food will be coming. We didn't know how much to order. But Gary was absolutely right. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. And he's absolutely right. When I got asked to do this, I did not know a thing about sled hockey. A friend of mine called me up, said the coach had quit. They're the host team of the Paralympics. I said, "What's the Paralympics?" I don't think he even knew a disabled person that was there. I didn't grow up with anybody on my street that was disabled, so I had not been around that world very often. But I thought when he asked me if I'd be interested, that I don't think I'm going to be coaching in the Olympics anytime soon. So this would be the next best thing. Hockey's hockey. It can't be that different. I'll give it a shot. So they called the GM. He gave me a call. He asked me, too, if I knew if I'd seen sled hockey. I said, "Oh, yeah, I've seen it." and how they proved me wrong, one of the very first camps, it wasn't a national team camp. It was just a camp in Tampa, Florida. To this day, I don't know why it was in Tampa, Florida. Crack ice time at 6 a.m. And I never met anybody, so I figure I'm going to go over early and meet these guys. It's 5 a.m., still dark out. The rink was right down the street. And I turned the corner, and my first image was of these guys under the street lights with wheelchairs wheeling down the middle of the street. And that was my first image. I had never met anybody yet. And I'm thinking, boy, these guys are dedicated. If I had a 6 a.m. ice time, I'd probably roll out of bed at 5:25 and get over there and throw my equipment on and get out. But again, that was my first image. So I meet the guys, and I get on the ice, and I'm blowing the whistle, warming them up. First whistle go this way, second whistle go the other way, and I blew the third whistle, and I went backwards. And they all stopped and looked at me. I was like, shit, they don't go backwards. And then I asked them to try it, and now I know why they don't go backwards. I'm like fish out of water. But that was my only real mistake, and it's really the only big difference in sled hockey to hockey. There's a couple of penalties that are different, but for the most part, the game's played on the same ice surface, same net, same equipment, same number of players. So move it forward a little, I got asked to be the coach. Then I got sainted, as you have to be in those days anyways, to become a coach in the disabled world. You really had to have the whole entourage of people vote you in. And I finally got in there, and I'm the head coach, and then all of a sudden the phone started ringing, and it was a gentleman from Chicago who was the coach of Chicago. It turned out that half of our team, the guys, came from Chicago. We had a great program, the Rehab Institute of Chicago, called the Blackhawks. They wore the Blackhawks jerseys. And he wanted to be king. He wanted to be the coach. And here I am, no matter what my credentials are, coming in from the outside. He didn't like it too much. So when I told him I really didn't want him on the team because I'm coming in, I'd have no allegiances to any players, but half the team was his guys. I didn't think it was a good idea having him as a coach on the team. I didn't like that either. And he ended up sending out emails to all the players to try to have me fired from the team. It would never happen in able-bodied hockey. And from that point on, right through the gold medal, and I'm not going to tell you the whole movie because, well, that's why we're making it. He was a thorn in my side, and some of the Chicago guys were allegiant to him through the training camp. So it was never, there was a lot of controversy, let's put it that way, and that makes a good movie. So this isn't just about a bunch of guys winning a gold medal. This is about people overcoming adversity individually and as a team. And as Gary said, they'd only ever won one game in their history. Their coach had quit halfway through the World Championships, I'm told. They were going to be the host team. They would never have been invited because they'd only ever won one game. Only reason they were there is because they were the host in Salt Lake City. And they needed a coach. So enter me. So, I heard all these raving reviews of this team, and I couldn't wait to get them on the ice. But we had our training camp, our selection camp in Buffalo, August of 2001. And I was 30 people showed up. In those days, they had to leave it open to anybody that was disabled in the U.S. that played sled hockey or wanted to try to come out and try out for the team. Well, it wasn't too hard to pick about the first 10 or 12, and the last 2 or 3 were a tough choice. But Tommy and I, my assistant Tom Moulton, who will talk in a minute. Where is he? Come in! Had to pick the 15 guys, and we did that, and that was August of 2001, and it came right down to the last guy, and the last guy I wanted to take was a young kid from Buffalo, 21-year-old kid, Chris Manns. And one of the reasons, he's a bigger guy, he was a little slower, but he was the only left-handed shot I ever saw out there. Everybody else shot with the right hand. And I said, we need a lefty on our team. So I picked him ahead of one of the Chicago guys. Wow, then, you know what hit the fan again. So it just never ended. But we were the bosses. We told them what to do. I had it in my mind what I wanted to do with the team. And we went through 7 months of training camps, 1 weekend a month, Thursday to Sunday. We'd fly to Buffalo, Dallas, Chicago, Minnesota, wherever the guys lived. We were lucky enough we could just go there and get the ice time and practice for 4 days, just amongst ourselves. We were supposed to have a camp in Canada, in Montreal, September 12, 2001. Japan, Canada, and us, and you know what happened September 11th. They turned around, Japan sent them home. We never played anybody for the next 7 months. We just practiced amongst ourselves. So we scrimmaged and hit each other. We had guys getting injured just hitting each other. And so what happened was after 9/11, you know, the shock of it and everything, we didn't have another camp until late October, and I turned to Tommy. I said, you know, we can't wait that long. We're trying to get this team off the ground. We got the Paralympics coming up next March. We got to have a camp. So we scheduled a camp 2 weeks after 9/11 in Buffalo. And as you remember, nobody was in the airports. It was a ghost town. And not one guy said, I'm not flying to Buffalo. They all came in from all over the country, flew into Buffalo for the camp, spent the weekend there with us. And we moved on from there. And it was pretty ugly in the beginning, but month after month after month, they started to gel as a team. We had to figure out, we had some really good players with a lot of individual talent. We had some guys that just made the team and only been playing 3 or 4 years. But they were good enough to make the national team. So we had to figure out drills that wouldn't bore these guys, but it wouldn't be too complicated for these guys. And so we ended up obviously gelling and going into Salt Lake City in February, March. I had a little problem in March, a couple weeks before, and this has got to be in the movie. One of the guys on our team that ended up being the MVP of the whole Paralympics, Sylvester Fliss, scored 11 goals in 5 games with 3 hat tricks. One against Canada. Door number 4 and played defense. Who thought, right? But he was one of the Chicago guys that was put in a hard spot with this coach, always on him, that he should be there and not me. So his allegiances were tough to pay attention to me when this guy's always on him. So I came down to, of all things, and this is how petty it was, the rooming list in the village. Because we stayed in the village that the Olympians stayed at 3 weeks earlier. And it said right in the paperwork that the players stay in one building and the staff stay in another. Well, unbeknownst to me, the trainer and one of the Chicago guys roomed together in all these camps. So they wanted to room together. So I decided, no, I'm not going to let them. I'm going to get back at them. You know? And so I didn't do that. So the phone started ringing. And one thing led to another. They're all calling me. They're all whining about, rooming lists, right? Come on, we're going in to win a medal here. Turned out Sylvester said some things to me that I didn't like, and I'm yelling and screaming at him on the phone. And Tommy could attest to this. We went into Salt Lake City, and as soon as we got in there, I went to my captains. I said, go see those guys and make sure they're with us, because if they're not, we got 3 other guys here that want to play. If they're going to keep up with all this bull, I'm kicking them off the team. Well, it turns out he was the MVP of the whole tournament and scored 11 goals. I almost kicked him off the team. So, thank God I didn't. But, I'm not going to tell the whole story here, but there's so many backstories to this story. And as it ended, with the gold medal. But the road there, the road in Salt Lake City, and to come down to the gold medal game, and to go to a shootout. I played in 1 Calder Cup championship, 2 Canada Cup championships, and 3 Stanley Cup championships, and that was the most exciting thing I've ever been in, honest to God. And I wasn't even playing. I was on the bench. But we love these guys. They were great. They really gelled as a team. And I'm very proud that we were able to do this, because you can only win first time once. And you can really only win at home once, because the Olympics and Paralympics only come around here 20 plus years, and they're not even back yet. So, that's how special this win was, on top of everything else. So I'll stop talking. I want Tom to come up and introduce my assistant coach.
We're going
We're going to go to a video.
we're going to go to sled shots.
All right.
And then Tommy's coming up.
This is a video, just a quick lead-in. We had a couple from Hollywood, California, that came with us, followed us through every training camp, right into the gold medal, and have about 70 hours of tape to develop a documentary, which they were never able to get funding for. But this is just a little excerpt of the taping that they had.
And for those that have just come in, there are drinks over here in the corner, so you can come around and get a drink.
We have a lot more art. We're in our own building. We got our own fans. That should be any excuse to not being up for this one. The game of your life, guys. Game of your life.
Right now, this sport is very new to the United States. Other parts of the world, it's been played for over 35 and 40 years.
I started playing in 1990. We were actually one of the first group of guys in the U.S. to play the sport.
I started skating about 96. I've been on the national team since 97. This is pretty much what everybody's looking for now. Looking for the buckets on the sleds. Just like a pair of hockey skates, the tighter they are to your feet, the more it's going to respond to your movement. I used to ride on 4-inch blades. They're 4 inches this way. So I just put these on. These are like 1 5/8 inch. And it just helps you cut a lot quicker. Just really makes a big difference turning.
The sticks use these picks from, they're like toe picks on ice skaters skate. And then you use 2 picks and 2 sticks. And then you use them and you dig into the ice like this. And then you use your shoulders and your lats to pull and push yourself on the ice. And use your hips to turn, like this when you're in the sled.
Sent you guys copies of the schedules, and I printed some stuff out here. But when I look at the schedules and how it's got everybody, the seedings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is to be announced, and number 6 is USA. It puts us right at the bottom. Yeah. If that doesn't give us even more incentive to say, we know where we're going to go. But then obviously
behind Jamaica.
Yeah, right.
We're excited about Rick Middleton coming on board and all of his NHL experience that he brings with us to teach these guys and bring them to the next level.
First day, I came up with some drills, and we did them, and then we scrimmaged, and they were all over the place. They didn't take the drills in the scrimmage. That was my That was Coyote.
If he scores, we win.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming out tonight. And like Rick said, braving the snow. I brought our gold medal if anybody ever wants to see it. It's pretty cool. So I'll leave it over here. Gary, you can pass it around and enjoy it. Just don't take it.
We're going to make another one.
I'll make your trophy. Yeah, again, thanks for coming. Look, this is probably one of the greatest things I've ever had the honor and privilege of doing in my life, other than my kids being born, to coach a Olympic team, a Paralympic team, if you will. You're probably wondering how I got the job. All you have to do is hang out in the parking lot at the Hampton Post Office and make the ribbon come out. That's a true story. I can see that shot in the movie because you got to have humor in a movie, right, Money? So I'm hanging out and watching, and finally Rick says, hey, would you like to be my assistant coach? I said, of what? Sled hockey. I said, what's that? No idea. That's one of the reasons we want to make this movie, because nobody really knows what sled hockey is. It's becoming more and more popular. And it is really one of the best untold sports stories of our time, in my opinion. I'm a movie buff. You guys that think of Miracle, Hoosiers, Coach Carter, remember the Titans, I can go on and on and on. And those movies inspire us to achieve things that are unachievable. And so when we went into Salt Lake City, like Rick said, this is the rankings. And I swear this is what it was. Like Rich just said it was Norway, who had won the World Cup, Canada, Sweden, Japan, to be determined, TBD. Seriously, God, I love that TBD. And it was Estonia. Who's Estonia? They beat Great Britain and Germany to get that spot in the United States. So when you're at that level of a ranking, if you think about it, where you've only got one place to go is up. And if you thought about funding, support, a lot of these guys did this on their own, with their own money, and we didn't really have a lot of funds. It's wheelchair sports, right, Rick? We had ice time at 11 o'clock at night in Chicago, and then the USOC shows up at bed and they say, hi, we're here, do you need anything? I said, yeah, we'd like to go to bed a little earlier. But, it is what it is, right? And it was just a great, great story of perseverance. And these guys, you gotta remember, like Rick said, when you're last and you achieve a goal of winning, nobody expects us to do the unexpected. We did it. We won every game. We were 22 goals for, 3 goals against, and we went to a shootout with Norway. Unfreaking believable. That's all I can tell you. Unbelievable. There's a lot of really fun backstories, like Rick said. I know one time Rick had to leave Salt Lake. We were actually playing at the Oval where they do the speed skating. He had to leave early, I think, to go home with Brett. And so it was my turn to take the team, myself, as the assistant coach, be the head coach. And what happened was Rick left, and I respect the head coach. My job is the assistant, but I run things a little differently. I'm a Virgo, a little more organized. So before we got the ice, listen. So yeah, I'm just telling you how anal and stupid I am. So I put all the drills together on the board so everybody knows where we're going, what we're doing. We get out there, in 5 to 10 minutes we're warming up. And so I go to this passing drill. I'm a real big fan of, I ask kids, Al, you know this, how many players on the ice, Al?
6.
Right. If you've got 5, well, there's 7 with the goalie. But this 5th one is the boards. If you think about it, if I want to pass it to Rick and this guy between us, I use the boards to get it to him. So I want to teach the guys the art of bouncing off the boards to have breakaways, etc. So we get to that part of the drill, and I'm looking, and the guys just seem to be dogging it. They're really not, because the head coach is out of town, and the lowly assistant coach is taking over. And I said, really? So I forgot this. I was actually mic'd up by the Olympics, or the Paralympics, because I think they wanted to use some of my comments, which never got used. But I forgot that I was mic'd up. And they were getting ready for the Olympics, so they come and they shoot scenes, so they can use it like, for promos, whatever.
B-movie.
Yeah, for B-movie. B-roll. So I'm mic'd up, and I realize these guys are dogging it. And I'm saying, what the fuck is going on here? I said, this is ridiculous. I says, I'm up at 5 in the morning. I'm away from my family. We're not getting paid for this. This is out of love of the sport, love to help these guys out, and just have a good time. So I finally, 10 minutes into it, I'm pissed. Blow the whistle. I got all these grown men at center ice. I just shut everything down. And I said, excellent delete. It was everything. Every word out of my was, F this, whatever. If you guys aren't here, I'm committed to win a medal. I don't know what you're up to. I said, but I'm here committed to make a medal. I'm here putting my time and effort in. If you're not going to work, I'm out of here. I'll blow the whistle. I'm gone. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go home. You do what you want. I'm done. I'm not putting up with this. Best practice we ever had. No offense, coach. Really. They sucked up. And I had 3 guys in the team came out afterwards and said, Coach, we're sorry. We were not messing with you, but we really were dogging it, and we weren't doing our best. And that's sometimes what it takes to play good cop, bad cop, and that's what Ricky and I did. Right? Gold medal game, we went in the side and said, we got to change it up. Other crazy stories, and again, I don't want to talk too long, but some of this you'll enjoy. We're over getting ready for the gold medal game at the East Center, and Rick and I are in the down in the locker room, and we were actually staying at the Olympic Village. The kid who was in the skeleton, I forget his name, Jim something or other, we were in his room. Well, my wife and my kids are over there, so I called my wife to tell her, Dana, we'll be over in a little bit. So that's good. I was in, the motherly. I'm in here cleaning up yours and Rick's room, and I'm about to do some laundry. I look at Rick, and there's all of you guys that play sports. If you're on the street, you don't wash anything. Your socks, my shirt, it's a superstition. I said, get that stuff out of the laundry and don't wash it. And she literally took it out of the laundry and didn't wash it.
They don't wash good socks.
Yeah, that's superstition. It's all these little backstories that there's plenty of it in the movie. And it's really Forrest Gump meets Miracle at the end of the day. It really is a feel-good story, but it's about triumph over a lot of challenges. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful story. I really look at the bigger picture that this really, in our country, we have so much divisiveness, political, whatever you want. I'm not even going to get into that now, but we got to bind our wounds, and we really got to pull together. And we got to get our economy going. We got to help people. And I think if you all remember 1980, a couple of my friends from college, Ralphie Cox, who was the last guy to get cut, and there's a couple of guys from BU. Our country was so screwed up back then with the Iran. I think it was Iran, right? Yeah. And when we won and we beat the Russians, look what it did for the country. How it pulled us all together. So this is kind of like one of the messages that I see that the movie has to offer. And I think it'll be good, And so this, in Olympic Village, the thing took a life of its own. We weren't supposed to do anything. Every time we won, we'd come back on the bus, and the whole Olympic Village was about the sled hockey team. They won again. They won again. They won again. We went on national TV with Howard K. Smith, and Joan London wasn't there. And Rick had the greatest line. So hey, so Rick, how's it feel to go for a gold medal? He says, the way I look at it, we got the silver sewed up. It was perfect for a team that wasn't supposed to go anywhere. The really cool thing, I'll wrap up with this, is what this did as a kid. When I grew up, I was a big baseball player. I dropped my baseball bat and my glove. Peter, you know that. My father was a big baseball guy, right? Because it was Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito, in the 70-71 team, and you just went to hockey. I started late. I wasn't good enough to really play, but I was good enough to be a pain in the ass, and it worked. And hockey's been my life. I have my best friends, and the whole works on it. So what this team did, which nobody really realized in 2002, by winning the gold medal, it really set the stage for sled hockey in the United States. What it is today, it was a cause and effect. When we won the gold medal, right, something we're not supposed to do, all these programs across the country opened up for children, young kids. The USA has probably one of the best youth development teams in the world. It's proven it because they won 3 Paralympic golds. We probably could have got 5 if Rick and I coached Torino. We might have had a shot at it. But there's politics involved. What it did, it really set the stage for these kids and these families. And that's some of our veterans who went over, in the war, came back, like Rico Roman, got his leg blown off with an IED. And this is what the opportunities exist for a lot of these kids that didn't exist before. Just 2 weeks ago, I was at Exeter Rinks at the New Hampshire and New England sled hockey tournament. I walked in that rink, and I'm telling you, the whole rink was covered with families, sleds. Fathers were playing with sons. Had spina bifida, this gentleman, Troy, in Vermont. Now that guy, stop and think about that. That was not existing 15 years ago. That did not exist. This man now has an opportunity to do something with his son who's in a wheelchair or can't walk. Other than that, the kid's sitting home doing nothing. The parents is, what do I do with my child? How do I get him something to get excited about? It's hockey. It's the rink. It's a community that we have. Hopefully I won't break down, Rick. I got to read this to you all. I got this, the U.S. won its 3rd gold medal in South Korea. Unbelievable game, typical fashion for us, right? I'm sitting at home the night before. It was the 16th anniversary of our win, the gold medal. One of the kids that's going to go to the lefty, Rick talked about Chris Mans. I'm sitting at home just watching TV on my phone games. I haven't talked to Chris in a long time. I got this text from him. I need some water. Hold on. Bear with me. But this is the kind of reward you get.
Rick, it's a good thing you got it.
So it says, hi Tommy, hope all is well with you and the family. I just wanted to drop you a quick note to tell you happy 16th anniversary of winning the gold in 2002. Special thanks from the bottom of my heart to you and Rick for taking a chance on a 20-year-old kid from Buffalo, New York, who was just chasing his dreams. By you and Rick giving me an opportunity those dreams became reality. I will forever be indebted to both of you having faith in me. Love you, Coach Chris Mans. This is my goal. That's what matters. 16 years later. So, all right.
So we have a little more of the program here, but the next piece for the sled hockey is we have an interview with the goalie. But before I turn it over to Manny Guerrero and his interview, I want to bring Cleon, the host tonight for the Causeway Club, because he just happens to be a goalie. Come on, Cleon, come on up here.
Thank you all for coming out on this snowy night. It hasn't really appeared yet. But there's one thing that we have in common here. This is our club. It's a private business social club that we set up. And ironically, today's the day that we're going to be changing the name of the club. And it's going to be Legacy Club of Boston. And how fitting is it to be here tonight talking about a legacy that's being unveiled. And we're excited about this. The basic idea of the club is very much like the sled hockey team. It's a place where like-minded people that want to share in their support of each other, be able to come here during the daytime, nights, weekends before Bruins, Celtics games, have members like the Bruins alumni, and that have a common bond in being able to support each other, whether it's business, whether it's sports, whether it's philanthropy. And for us, a common bond that we all have in common right now, to me, is hockey. And I had a gentleman who came in a couple of weeks ago and he said to me, he's so excited. He was, a huge Bruins fan, Cleon. He goes, but I played for Sion, but I was only on the third line. I said, listen, when it comes to hockey, if you played hockey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're here, or you played sled hockey, or you played in the minors, or you played college. To us, a hockey player is a hockey player, an athlete's an athlete. They care about each other. They know what teamwork is. They know what it takes to get things done. And that's what's going on here. Just watching a group come together to, really talk about the legacy. I got to say one thing: seeing Nifty in a USA hat after how many practices we had, where it's U.S. versus Canada, we have to practice each other. It'd be 4 Americans, but we'd have to take on the rest of the team. But
I bit the bullet.
Yeah, you had to bite the bullet, but you did the right thing. But I just want to thank everybody. I'm glad we're excited about this. We're excited about our space because we're able to do things like this. And our idea really isn't to sit there and try to, hey, it's a business. We want to bring like-minded. We want to have success. We want to generate and make some money. But what we want to do is make a difference in the community. And this is a story that needs to be told. And it's hockey. And it's great people like Rick Middleton. And, it's good to be a part of it and be able to host this thing. So thank you.
Very good. So, Cleon, before we leave, so folks, if you haven't had a chance to have a tour of the club, that will be available tonight, and the party will go on afterwards as well. There's a nice picture on the wall of what's being constructed across the way, the new entrance to the TD Garden as well. So with the zip line that Cleon's putting in, you'll be able to get right into your seat.
Right into the seat. Well, we have a ton of memorabilia in the other room where our offices are. We're glad to give you a tour, talk about all the different artifacts, and You know, Rick can take it and tell you how great he was and good he was. My picture in there? Your picture's on it, son.
Oh, it's over by the bathroom, yeah.
All right, so
Take care.
so we're now going to go to Manny Guerrero. But Manny was the goalie, and he recorded this earlier today.
Well, as usual, Rick gave me a call tonight and said, hey, can you put a little video together to talk about what winning a gold medal the way you did means to you. So I said I'd put something together real quick, not real fancy. So here we go. Hey guys, this is Manny Guerra. I wish I could make it out tonight, but I didn't get an invite. But seriously, appreciate you guys coming out. I know the weather's not the greatest, and I want to thank the Causeway Club for hosting a tough sledding gold medal launch party tonight. I think it's time that our story is told, and we've talked about it for many years, but I really appreciate the fact that things are coming together. People are talking about it, and certainly between the producers and the project backers that have donated, it gets me excited. To be honest, I came into sled hockey purely by accident. It wasn't anything that I saw online. It wasn't a poster at a rehab center. It certainly wasn't my doctor or therapist saying, hey, you gotta check out this crazy sport where you can actually get out of your chair or your brace or your crutches or whatever you're in and jump on the ice and smash people. So in 1987, I had moved up to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there's a rehab institute called Sister Kenny Institute, which I heard about and thought it would be beneficial for me to continue receiving treatment, staying up on top of therapies or new technologies that would help me walk better, make my life a little easier. After countless years of my doctor hounding me to play wheelchair sports and me saying no, I gave in. And that started a weekly routine of wheelchair basketball every Thursday night. One night, I wheeled by this guy's office, and I happened to look to the right, and I saw a VHS player and a TV showing this sport, showing sled hockey. Saw these guys sitting on sleds, scooting around on the ice, and I just kind of instinctively made a right turn and wheeled right into his office. And without missing a beat, didn't even look at him. I sat there and watched this video for a good minute before we both kind of turned to each other and said hello. So again, purely coincidence. To win a gold medal, it's kind of hard to put it in terms that you can verbalize. It's an incredible feeling. It's a culmination of so much hard work, so much support from your family, your volunteers, previous coaches, previous teammates, everybody that was involved in your entire sports career to take your game to that next level come to mind. And so to do it in the fashion that we did as a team it's indescribable. And to hear Rick at the time yell in your ear, this was his Stanley Cup, after knowing that he had been to the show 3 times, I believe, and not win it, to have him compare that culmination of success with his goal of trying to win a Stanley Cup was indescribable. And I've cried so much and so hard in such a short span of 20 seconds. But it's hard to find the words, really. It really is. So I'd like to thank you guys for coming out tonight. I wish again I was there with you celebrating this special event. I look forward to the future and see what it brings. And one more thing I forgot. For a donation of $5,000, I will personally sign and deliver this team issue 2002 Roots Beret. These are not around anymore. They're still fashionable, and they go with anything. As you can see, they go with my floor. So again, thank you guys. I look forward to having our paths cross in the near future. Take care. As usual, good to be with tonight.
So, without further ado, I want to introduce the film producers. For a period of time, I lived in Jackson, Mississippi, and in all my moves for corporate jobs, the first thing I would do is find the hockey rink. Well, at the time, moving to Jackson, Mississippi, that was a difficult task. There weren't very many hockey rinks, but they had just converted an old roller skating rink to hockey. And it was a family that had an amusement park with, all kinds of rides and mini golf and everything else, and they had a hockey rink now in Jackson, Mississippi. So we formed a men's league. We had enough players within an hour and a half, 2 hour drive that would come together, and we had two teams. And this is where I met Yaron Kaplan, our film producer. Yaron showed up, and although he's from New York, he hadn't played hockey as a kid, but he knew he wanted to play men's hockey. So he got himself goalie equipment because he knew that was the least amount of skating he needed to do. And he played men's hockey with us. And again, a testament to his courage, his grit, his perseverance. But we became very good friends. He was doing film school in Mississippi, and I've kept in touch with him for the past 20 years. And when this project came along, I couldn't think of anybody better than Yaron and his partner Arthur to champion this thing through. I've learned a lot in the past several months putting this together. I didn't know how to put a movie together, but again, we're piecing all the parts together. But the one thing that's been true through all of this is Yaron's conviction to this project. And I'm going to turn it over to Yaron so he can explain a little bit about what goes into making a movie and why he found this to be a compelling project. Yaron?
Make sure I'm actually in the light over here. First place, really, Gary, I cry a lot, but really, thanks for introducing us, and really, Gary, Gary's been the guy who's been really driving us forward to make sure that this project keeps moving forward, and that's part of why we're here tonight, is because we have to keep this project moving forward. And obviously meeting Rick and Tom has just been an amazing experience. When Tommy starts talking, you get excited and you get into it, and we knew immediately that this was a project that would mean a lot to us, that would epitomize the things that we love. Working, Rick telling stories as not only obviously you all know him as the Boston Bruins legend, but also as a coach, and how he the seamless kind of transition to be able to do that, and having his stories come out with both sides of his experience from coaching and playing. To tell us about sled hockey, which Gary, same like Rick said to us, Gary asked me, do I know anything about sled hockey? I said, of course. It's a lie that keeps getting another lie. But for me, as a filmmaker, for us as a filmmaking team, sports movies capture the human experience as good as any other film can, and being able to find fulfillment in life you know, for these gentlemen who've suffered through their disabilities, multiplies the goal, multiplies the, you know, what's on the line and speaking from a sports, you know, from a film perspective, it adds and it multiplies what it means to come through in the clutch, what it means to come through not just in sports but in life, to keep going forward. And that is what drew me so much to this, with that big crescendo at the end, is the human experience with the sports crescendo.
So for me, I didn't grow up watching hockey as much as everybody else did in the room. What I did do, I grew up watching my uncle. And my uncle was a strong-bodied man, and he got into a car accident when I turned about 16. So from about 16 to about 18, I actually helped take care of him. And I watched this man body deplete. By the time I got off to college, he passed. So when Yaron told me about this movie, I said, we got to do it. This is my way to tell a little bit of his story by telling his story. So that's what drew me to the project.
So now we're going to show the Rip-O-Matic. Now we're going to show the Rip-O-Matic. You've heard so much about the story. You've seen some of the footage from that period of time. But when you make a movie, you have to take all these different parts of this grand story and to make a scripted narrative, a movie that we'll go see in a movie theater. You have to get people to follow the storyline, and to embrace the different characters, both the ones that they like and the ones that they don't like. And so we created a Rip-O-Matic trailer, which is taking pieces of other movies to give you a feel of what we feel of the direction of the film, and it also gives you a feel of, from our discussions with Gary and Tommy and Rick, and we spoke to Manny and some of the other players, to how we can incorporate their stories into making this the best movie possible. So let me play.
What's that? No, I'm just kidding.
Why do you want to play hockey? Isn't it obvious? The girls.
Starting today, you will play like winners, act like winners, and most importantly, you will be winners.
A golden opportunity. Jack Sanders to the feet in front from Sylvester Frisk. Couldn't quite handle the pass and get the shot away.
I don't have my legs anymore. Anyway, this is my photo album that my mom made for me and stuff. This is everything from the day of my accident up until today.
I can't do this. I can't do it.
You know, been reading up on the activities that they got for people in wheelchairs and such. They got Olympics.
We are in the Olympic Village. Can you hear that? I'm a lot happier now with my life than I was before. If I didn't have this accident, I wouldn't be in the Olympics.
Think you can win on talent alone? Gentlemen, you don't have enough talent to win on talent alone. Again.
That's all you can say to me after all you've been through. Do the goddamn. Where you gonna go?
Extremely surprised.
We're Team USA, gathered from all across America. And we're going to stick together.
Listen to it. We can beat these guys.
Discover the story
This is your time.
behind the greatest moment in sports history.
So as you see, for us, and why we're here tonight is because all of you have come forward and to help propel this project forward and to make it a movie, you know, and that's why we've enjoyed so much talking with Rick and Tommy and Manny and Rich DeGuapper and Joe Howard and all the other players, both on the ice and behind the scenes, is to get what we can from their stories to be able to bring to light the best sled hockey movie that we can. And, you know, building on what Tommy said a little bit was that, you know, I think why everybody's probably so drawn to it is what Rick and Tom were able to do with the 2002 team kept propelling sled hockey forward, and we hope this movie is able to continue to show other fathers or other mothers, other parents, or other children if they have parents who would need to play non-able-bodied hockey, that they can. Because so many people, even though we all know it here, so many people still don't know about sled hockey. And for us, you know, I thank you so much for you know, being this early supporters of the project, and as Gary's always pushing us forward, and you know, Tom is just a bulldog, and and Rick, you know, there's something about an athlete, you know, something about an athlete like Rick, where it's if you work hard, you're going to accomplish it, you know, and that's what we admire so much about you, and that's not always the case in the film industry. But I know that if all of us here in this group are able to continue working hard to spread the word about tough sledding, to help raise money for tough sledding, that we will be able to bring this movie to light. So thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. Has anyone measured the odds? One of the things about America and the world is we love an underdog. This is an underdog story times 10. And the odds of 1,000 to 1, 10,000 to 1. I think that's a great lead for tough sledding. These odds were 10,000 to 1. If 10 guys, 15 guys, 20 guys come together and make it happen. No story has the odds that this story has, and I think that's the biggest selling point. And I hope you'll consider it because it is an amazing story.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we, you know, I think that's something that, you know, Toyota, you know, kind of picked up on as well with their, you know, with their support of Paralympic hockey. And I think that America is, like you said, we love beating the odds, and yeah, we definitely.
But of all the odds, this to be announced is 10,000 to 1, bigger than any story out there.
We're underdog guys, and we love that story. That's, you know, I'm from New York, he's from LA, and we ended up in college in Mississippi. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that we'll embrace from a storytelling point of view, and from a promotional point of view to get it out to America. Is that, you know, this is not only is it the underdog story of an underdog coming through in the moment, it's an underdog story of an underdog coming through for the next 20 years of the sport.
Yes.
Does everybody know, I just wanted, if you don't mind me just,
Yeah.
does everybody know what we're trying, you know, the money, just explain like the business end of it, because I don't know crap about the film industry, but I know you gotta raise money to do things. But what we're trying to do by raising this money, $100,000 goal that we have, we're gonna take this money and write the most kick-ass script we can get, like second to none. We talked about that. I just want to explain how it works. So we're going to take that money, get a script, and then we're going to go to the studios and try to pitch it. You got to go get actors. The actor's not going to look at it until they see a script. Studio's not going to look. It's a great idea, but show them what you got. So just so you know, all the money we're trying to raise is going to be used for that. And then when we get the script, you maybe go to Disney, who did Miracle. I have some contacts, some family in the business. I'm trying to work with them. My dream team is to get Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon, 2 Boston kids that are the same age that Rick and I are. They love hockey. They're local kids. They're going to very similar.
Tommy has told us many times that Matt Damon styles is looking at
no, but they're gonna do it because of this guy, because they love the Bruins and they love Rick. So I think you can pull on their heartstrings a little. And if you can't, maybe they know somebody that will. But that's the idea. And then, if we're like them to raise more money, we can do an indie. You know what I mean? This whole project started out as a book, believe it or not. 5 or 6 years ago, Rick and I said, Rick, before we die, he says, we got to memorialize this thing. Because this story, if nobody remembers it, tells it, it's going to get lost. Or maybe long after we're gone, maybe somebody will do something with it. Well, the book went from well, if the book gets written, I'll go down to ESPN, see if they'll do a 30 for 30 movie and take Chris and Cindy's 110, 70 hours of footage, put a little 30 for 30 movie together, and the story will be told and we'll be done. We're not looking to make any money at this thing, and if I tell you, if we haven't made any money yet, I'm going to give it all back to wheelchair sports or to disability. So there's not there's any agenda here. It's all in the heart. We've already talked about that. These guys make a living. They deserve to get paid. I don't give a shit about it, to be honest with you. And then this whole thing popped out, a film feature movie. And I'm going, really? I mean, no, last thing I ever thought of. And thank God these guys stepped up and pushed it, and Gary did it, and Arthur, and here we are. But that's like the mechanics of where we're trying to go, just so everybody knows. Okay?
So, thanks, Tom. So just to add on to Tommy's comment there, I told you I'm learning a little bit about the movie industry. So for a 2-hour movie, what it boils down into is about 120 pages of script. So there's about a page per minute for a script. So the money we're raising is to put together that script. And the challenge you have is nobody in Hollywood does anything until they see everything, right? Because there's something better might come along. So these guys, the Rip-O-Matic is great for this to get it started and get the feel. But until we put that full script together, we don't get everybody's attention. So that's the key thing right now. We believe that because of all the attention around the Paralympic sports right now, and particularly the sled hockey success, we believe that we won't even have to get through the whole script. Once they know we have the funding for the script, we believe we'll have the studio interest to move this thing along very, very fast. So that's the key, is with the Indiegogo project, is we draw attention to it. So what can you do today, leaving here? Well, first of all, you're part of the family. You are part of this project, no matter what. You will be on the credits for this movie, okay? So that's a big plus. There is a postcard here around the tables and stuff like that. Make sure you do grab a postcard. If any of you have not met Tom and Rick personally, make sure you do meet them and make sure they sign your postcard and stuff like that, and take that away. But feel free to share those and take extras to your friends. This is about spreading the news. Before we move on, there's one last feature piece here. Joe Howard, one of the stars of the program and the team, has recorded an interview as well. We've saved this for the last because Joe Howard, there's a lot of dimensions to his story on this team, and one of the things that the movie producers like to do is they like to pull the character out. So Yaron, come on back up and explain.
So for us, one of the things that's really interesting about Joe, and of course, as you guys know, movies, glean things from different characters and then make them into one character. Joe was a guy who was there, predated Rick and Tommy, and is a fiery personality unto himself. He was the captain of the team. He didn't necessarily always get along with these guys over here, but his story for us, when he talks to us and when he tells us what's going on, it's amazing to see the difference from Nagano to Salt Lake City. And his story also ends with him getting engaged on the ice, as you saw. And those are the things, as moments that we're taking, is to continue for us also to be able to continue to go meet with the Joe Howards, Manny, go out to Minnesota and meet with Manny and get as many of the personal stories, as many of the intricacies of their life and their battles with each other, with themselves, how they helped each other in those moments, because they all, what I've come to learn through the process of talking with the players is that they were all at different levels of dealing with where they were in life in respect to their disabilities, and how they actually helped each other come through that. So we'll show you now. Joe was kind enough to send a few minutes. He hoped to be here tonight, but weather didn't permit it for him. So here's the captain, Joe Howard, who also was the MVP of the gold-winning game.
And folks, there are still drinks up here if you need a drink. Help yourself.
Hi everyone, this is Joe Howard. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it there tonight, but I want to thank everyone for coming out and supporting this hopeful movie that's going to be coming out about our tremendous victory in 2002. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I played hockey my whole life, started skating and playing hockey when I was 4 years old. And in 1982, at the age of 15, I was in an accident and I lost both my legs. Never thought about playing hockey again, never even considered it. And by chance, I was trying some adaptive skiing, and I ran into a man named Dale Wise, who ran the local sled hockey program. He came up to me and asked me if I liked hockey, and I loved hockey when I played hockey. And he asked me if I wanted to come try this sport called sled hockey. So that very next week, I was pretty excited to go check it out, and sure enough, once I got in the rink and I started skating around, and it's hockey. We're just sitting down, and that's the only difference between the game. And I fell like all over again. And shortly after that, 3 months, I would think, the U.S. coach was coming to watch me practice and asked me if I wanted to join Team USA on their next travel trip. I absolutely did, and that's where it began for me. First Paralympics was 1998. We didn't show very well. Of course, we want to win, and we didn't, and it bothers you. Then 4 years later, we continued playing, and Rick Middleton got on the program shortly before 2002, and it just changed the whole attitude of everyone on the team. He taught us a lot about hockey and just how to play the sport the right way. And we only won one Paralympic game in our history. That was in 1998. So we didn't know what to expect when we went to Salt Lake City in 2002. And we got there and we started playing, and we knew we had some talent, but the talent that we showed on the ice was just unbelievable. We beat every team we played, didn't lose a game, and then ultimately we won the gold medal on our home turf. And it was just amazing what that win did for everybody in the sport. Programs were popping up all over the country. And it's pretty exciting to know that now there's going to be some documentation about that in a movie. It's always been talked about, and now the wheels are really turning now, and it's pretty exciting. 2002 was a pretty tough year. My mom was fighting cancer, and she was unable to make the games. So to come home with that gold medal and to put it around her neck was something that really just still gives me goosebumps. She was my biggest supporter, my biggest fan. But that win at Salt Lake City changed the sport forever for the U.S. We had expectations now. People weren't looking at us. They were looking to us as a team to beat. And the U.S. team has medaled in every Paralympics that we played in. And most recently, just winning 3 in a row, 3 gold medals in a row, 3 consecutive Paralympics, which is unheard of. So that 2002 was just amazing. You can't even really put it into words what it feels like to put a gold medal around your neck and to represent your country. And the way that just boosted the sled hockey awareness in the United States was incredible. There was programs popping up all over the states, and that's what makes the team so good today is because of all the programs that have popped up, and kids have been playing sled hockey since they're like 5-6 years old now, and it's pretty amazing. And I went on to 2 Paralympics after that, and I got a bronze in 2006 and another gold medal in 2010 in Vancouver, which was, don't get me wrong, it's awesome to win gold medals, but that first gold medal in 2002 was the highlight of my hockey career. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out and trying to make this movie possible. And we're all pretty excited, and hopefully we can get this going soon. Thank you all for coming tonight, and have a good night.
So that pretty much wraps up our formal remarks, but I would be remiss if I didn't share with you kind of an overarching dream and vision I have with this. Not unlike the movie you saw about the Mighty Ducks and then putting hockey on the map in California, this will do the same thing. This movie will put sled hockey on the map. Mark my words, there will be a professional sled hockey league which springs up after this movie. Sled hockey will never be the same again. And this is what we're kicking off here. So thank you again for your support. I appreciate you coming out. One more video?
Yeah, video 18, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the gold medal shootout. That's what it's all about.
Welcome back. We might as well get right to it. It's out to the E Center now for the conclusion of the gold medal sledge hockey game. Here's Ian and Brent.
The United States and Norway will go to a shootout to determine the gold medal. In the overtime period, the United States a golden opportunity. Jack Sanders took a feed in front from Sylvester Fliss. Might handle the pass and get the shot away, and then a huge hit on Joe Howard.
Joe Howard comes in the middle. He gets a lot of speed. Had the lane. Wolfstead comes across and handles it.
This is how they do it. 5-on-5, most goals win. All right. Let Slider go first. Joe second. Chris, top corner, baby. Third. All right. Fourth. And Lonnie your fifth.
5-round shootout. Here we go. The U.S. will start. Sylvester Fliss will give it a crack in the first round. Sylvester Fliss, first round, 5-round shootout, gold medal on the line. Here comes Fliss against the Norwegian goaltender, Johansson. Fliss cuts in on goal. Fliss waits, deeks, makes a move, and the save is made by Johansson. A huge save on Sylvester Fliss.
Oh, Johansson getting the block out very quickly. That's Sylvester Fliss' best move. He pulled it out, whips his blocker across. Nice save.
Helge Bjornstedt for Norway in the bottom half of the first round. Here comes Bjornstedt. He's got 6 goals in the tournament. Bjornstedt cuts in on Guerra, waits, shoots, scores. Got Guerra to go down and buried it.
Well, here we see it. Bjornstedt comes down, goes to his right very quickly. Oh, Manny Guerra went for the move.
Joe Howard next up for the U.S. in the second round. Here's Howard trying to pull the U.S. even. They're already in a hole. Howard waits, shoots and scores.
Howard, great play going to his right side. Again, he's doing it for this team.
So the United States even with Norway after a round and a half. And it'll be Peterson to take the shot. Peterson in the second round for Norway, trying to give the lead back to his team. Here's Peterson in on Guerra. Peterson cuts back, shoots, scores. What a move!
Under the sled, going from right to left. That's a tough one for Guerra to stop.
Norway leading 2-1. Round 3 for the U.S. Chris Mans. A 21-year-old Mans in on Johansson with his left hand. Mans waiting, cutting, shooting, scoring.
Oh, took his time getting there, but he drags the claw.
Rick, tell everybody what you said to Manny. tell everybody what we said to Manny this morning.
Next up for Norway is Roger Hansen against Manny Guerra. Norway 2 for 2 so far in the shootout. Round 3, trying to get the lead back. Here's Hansen in on Guerra, who's well out to challenge. Hansen shot, blocker save made by Guerra.
Guerra understands that he's got to be out a little bit more. An unbelievable job.
Now we are dead even. 4 for the U.S. Kip St. Germain, the veteran, comes out. The former captain, 36 years old, trying to give the U.S. the lead for the first time in the shootout. St. Germain in on Johansson, who is also out to challenge. St. Germain waiting, shooting, scoring!
Come on, nice and tight. Sends it to the net. This is getting good.
Oh, he's got the crowd going crazy right now. The chance of USA, and now the advantage goes to the U.S. team. Kip St. Germain, 36 years old, gives the U.S. the lead. Norway will now try to believe it. Spey will work against Guerra. Round 4. Here's Spey, hard, in on goal. Spey waits, shoots, save made by Guerra!
Manny Guerra playing it well again, coming out challenging.
The United States has 8,317 people on their feet. If they can score here with Ronnie Hanna, they will win the gold medal. The gold medal is on the line. USA chants ringing through the building. Here comes Hanna for the gold. Hanna waits, shoots, fired it wide. So now the goaltender must make the save, or we're headed to another session and another round of the shootout.
This does not get any better. First the bronze game, now the gold. What a week.
Haglund for Norway. Round 5, the U.S. with the advantage. Guerra needs to make a save, and the goal is for the U.S. Here's Haglund, in on goal. Haglund shoots, missed the net. The U.S. has won the gold medal. Manny Guerra comes up with the save of his life, and the United States, it was truly an impossible dream. The 6th seed going into the tournament, and they have won the gold medal.
I had that list and I wasn't changing it. I knew those guys could do it for us in the shootout. I just didn't think we'd get there.
I wake up with this thing still around my neck, and I think that's when it's really going to hit me. It's just unbelievable. To do it on our home soil and the way that we want to do it. I mean, that's what it's all about, you know?
This is too much. Like I said, I'm still stunned. Somebody got to pinch me. It was a great game today.
Incredibly, the United States, led by Captain.
Folks, the party goes on. The Bruins actually have a game tonight, and it'll be broadcast here on the TVs. There are drinks, there's food, there's pizzas. Please help yourself. And
just want to thank you all for coming again. I know you didn't know how the weather was; it was on and off. So Tommy and I, and Gary, Yaron, and Arthur really appreciate you coming down for this. Because if we can't keep the momentum going with this, then we don't have anything. So as you can see, this is going to be a great movie when it's done. All right, thank you, everyone.
Folks, there's postcards. Help yourself.
Take a look around and see the crowd. Is this still recording? Thank you at home for watching. Please keep this moving forward. Thank you.